Greetings, Barony fans. I once more rise from the dead to bring you the slop that you enjoy so much. I've given you several guides by this point, but I think it's time to do something a bit more original. Seeing as I've played Barony for over 300 hours now, and I've completed the game, I think it's time to break the game. I've come up with a strategy to try and get my character as powerful as possible, to a reasonable extent. I'm not going to do any Baphomet farming, because in that case I could literally do that infinitely, but we will be doing some similar things. You can also use this video as a sort of guideline on how to get very strong during a normal playthrough. Of course, with Barony being a roguelike, certain aspects are at the mercy of RNG, but there's a lot we can do to get around that. The character I'll be running is a vampire shaman with the following game settings. Disable hunger so we can spend the most amount of time on each floor and not need to worry about starving. Disable minotaurs because they annoy me. Keep traps on for the simple fact that killing mimics gives XP. And disable friendly fire so we don't accidentally hit our own goons. With that all out of the way, we start the game by cheesing the skill level up mechanic. Your skills will level up by doing an action associated with that skill. In this case, we're gonna max out our magic and casting levels before even entering the dungeon. First, we spam levitate until there's only 8 mana left. Then, transform into a rat and wait for your mana to refill. Your skull mask will make you regen mana faster while transformed, so you want to use as much mana as possible for levitate spam, but leave enough to transform into a rat so our mana refills quicker. After doing this for about 15 minutes, you'll have maxed out your magic and casting skills, which grants free force bolts and the dominate spell, and you might level up once during the process as well. Now we are ready to go into the dungeon. We're going for a tank-oriented playthrough, so we need to spend the most amount of time in the troll form as possible. Troll form isn't unlocked for a few levels, so until then, we need to prioritize being in the rat form when we level up. When a shaman is in rat form on level up, there's an increased chance to level up your dexterity and or your perception. It's good to get these early on, because when we start playing the game primarily in troll form, we'll have low speed and extremely limited visibility. While in the mines, we're going to recruit rats for leadership levels, and also start trying to level up stealth. When I was learning how to play Punisher for the Punisher guide, I learned that stealth is very overpowered, and we're trying to level up as many things as possible anyway. Also, whenever possible, use torches to level up blocking to 40, then use any spare or cursed shields to level it up to 100. This is a gradual process and is mainly determined by how many shields you can find. The first hurdle of the playthrough is the Gnomish Mines. Here, the primary things we want are the gold, a couple pickaxes for access to later secret levels, and of course, XP from killing everything. It can be quite dangerous though, because, believe it or not, lightning still hurts. Force Bolt and Bloodletting help a lot with this area, and you should have the troll form by this point, so you can recruit the trolls wandering around and use them as bodyguards. Be sure to grab the Sphinx's Cask, it gives +8 intelligence and is unbreakable. A Circlet of Wisdom would be better, but this will do for now. After this, I got lucky and got a Minetown exit, so I was able to kill all the humans and buy an alembic. This will let us make potions. The main ones I'm interested in are the Firestorm potions. The rest of the mines plays out the same, grinding, blocking, and stealth, and leveling up in the troll form for strength and constitution levels. Next up is the swamps, featuring more dangerous enemies and deadlier traps, but most dangerous of all for a vampire, water. However, we have a way around this. When you transform, the game doesn't treat it the same as polymorph, so you can touch water and remain in your current form. Using this, we spend about 15 minutes sitting in a tile of water to max out swimming. This grants water walking, so levitation is no longer needed to avoid water, but we can no longer put ourselves out if we catch on fire, so be wary of goblins with fire staffs or fire arrows. Continuing on from the swimming shenanigans, the next important stop is the Jungle Temple. Using one of the pickaxes gained from the Gnomish Mines, I break the walls between the doors to the cells containing the trolls. This way I can turn into a rat and beat them to death, while they can do nothing to me. By doing this to every troll in the temple, it also ensures that when I pick up the green orb and all of those doors are opened, none of the trolls activate the boulder trap or set the goblins free. I go through the left room, flip the lever to open the path to the strength potions, and release the gobbies from their imprisonment. To kill them, I use the imp form since I saw that all but one of them had ranged or magic weaponry. From these goblins, I got the next best thing from a Circlet of Wisdom, a Magus' Headdress. Comparing the stat changes for this to the Sphinx's Cask, the Magus' Headdress is simply better, as it gives a percentage increase to damage spells, whereas the Sphinx's Cask just gives a flat +8 to intelligence. I'm still keeping it to sell later though. Once the gobbies are taken care of, grab the gold and strength potions, execute some more wretched greenskins, almost forget the green orb, and it's time to but not until after going through the Haunted Mansion. This is a crucial area for gaining XP, as there's somewhere around 20 or 30 enslaved ghouls here. Now, normally if I were to try and fight these ghouls head on, even at this level and in my troll form, I would probably die very quickly, so we're gonna play a bit dirty. While in any of the transformations, you can use any spell you've memorized from spellbooks or spells you start with. This means I can use the Levitate spell, which I get from being a vampire, in the troll form. So, with this in mind, I'm going to levitate just out of the ghoul's reach and be able to kill every single one of them without any worry of dying prematurely. Just from killing all the ghouls here, I went from level 26 to level 31. Very good. The rest of the swamp is more of the same. Grind stealth, level in troll form, etc, etc. After the swamp is my least favorite level set in the whole game, the Sand Labyrinth. What makes this place so frustrating is how closed off the whole damn map is. It majorly consists of tight hallways with several twists and turns, and features one of the most annoying enemies in the game, the Scorpion. Fortunately, I'm strong enough that if I can get to their back, they usually die within 1 or 2 sneak attacks. Using one of the pickaxes gained earlier, I go into the first secret level of the Sand Labyrinth, Sokoban. Luckily, I had gotten a strength ring earlier and forgot to script it, but I don't care because I'm on a content drought and need to get this shit uploaded post-haste. Anyway, Sokoban gets us a fuck ton of gold, but also the Jinny's Brace, which is unbreakable and gives +1 magic resistance. Floor 12 had nothing interesting happen other than I got a steel shield to replace my bronze one. Floor 13, however, a few important things happened. Firstly, I killed a scorpion and it dropped a ring of levitation. This is one of the best items to get, just in general, because jewelry doesn't break and can't be stolen by succubi. So as long as I have this ring on, I can infinitely levitate and not need to worry about my mana draining. Secondly, the map generated one of these spider rooms, so I got like 5 spider kills from that. By this point in the run, I was level 38, had 100 in swimming, appraisal, magic, casting, and blocking, but was still working on leveling unarmed and stealth. After the stat check came the Minotaur Maze. To a newer player, this seems like an impossible task, that is, killing the Minotaur for access to the red orb and Gungnir, but I am not a new player. I know what to do. Grab the red orb and run to the exit, and place the orb on the pedestal at the end of the maze. This momentarily slows the Minotaur, but it also inflicts weakness on him. Due to weakness, he does much less damage, so it's a lot less scary to take him head on. Now we can get the red orb again, take it to the middle of the maze, and grab Gungnir, purely for the fact that it will be sold later for more money. Nothing much happened on the last level of the labyrinth, but I did have an encounter with Thumpus. May he rest in peace. Finally leaving the wretched labyrinth, the ruins is a much more enjoyable dungeon experience. There are gnomes, trolls, automatons, and even occasionally demons, nefarious creatures that all deserve nothing less than execution. On the first floor of the ruins, I found a jewelry store, so I was finally able to sell the 2 diamonds and emerald I accrued. The next secret exit takes us to the Mystic Library, which is another crucial area. Here we get a couple more levels from killing all the humans here, the blue orb, and some gold, but more importantly a plethora of magic items. Scrolls, potions, staffs, spellbooks, it's all here. Leaving the Mystic Library, we go through 2 more floors of the ruins before taking the second secret exit and arriving in the Underworld. This place sucks, and all I did was recruit a couple imps for leadership levels. This is fine, however, as it mostly acts as a transitional area to the real mid-game challenge, Hell. Hell is filled with the most evil of enemies. Imps, demons, succubi, incubi, and goatmen all spawn here, but due to my current state of overpowered, serve nothing more than being minor nuisances. I am interested in the incubi, however. They can grant access to a secret spell that is normally unobtainable, so listen closely, because I've never mentioned this in any of my other Barony videos. It's quite simple. All you need is a source of magic reflection, whether it be a cloak, amulet, or mirror shield. Make sure you are holding a weapon in your main hand, then block an incubus's attacks until you see it readying a spell. Reflect the spell back at him, and you will then be given the spellbook he normally holds, that being a spellbook of steel weapon. While figuring out this process, I witnessed the worst case of an incubus tweaking the fuck out, and had to retry this like 3 times. I do it all for you. After memorizing the steel weapon spell, the book can just be thrown away as it's served its purpose. The rest of Hell is more of the same, killing everything in the way and whatnot, but the goatmen do drop health potions, and I got a spellbook of extra healing as well as a mirror shield. So some good did come from this infernal place. At the end of Hell is the fight with Baphomet. Now, I could stay here and farm kills infinitely, but I'm not going to do that, simply because that would be boring and, in my opinion, a cop-out. Regardless, here's the entire Baphomet fight. It took me less than a minute, and I'm so strong that the 2 Minotaurs that spawn when Baphomet dies are only doing around 20 damage to me each hit. Clear out the rest of the demons, and hell is complete. Now we've arrived in Hamlet, and we've got some shit to do before entering the latter third of the game. First, I sell the artifacts I've held onto, as well as the free weapons in the arms and armor store. I then go around to all the shops looking for healing potions, restore magic potions, and blank scrolls. I take the back exit to get to the sewers and give the shady merchant all 3 orbs, since I have no other use for them. In the sewers, I grab the magic restore and extra healing potions, as well as the 2 alembics. Sell the alembics, and now I begin systematically murdering every human remaining in Hamlet, most of which die with 1 punch in my troll form. The 2 humans I mainly care about, however, are the Barbarian and the Cleric. They have absurdly good gear, namely a +2 Ring of Might, a +6 Cloak of Protection, Steel Gauntlets of Might, a +4 Healer Doublet, Boost of Speed, and a +2 Steel Shield of Magic Resistance, all of which I keep. The rest of their gear is sold. I use all of my scrolls to repair and enchant my gear. Most importantly, I bless the Gauntlets of Might to be +10. Next, I grind out my trading stat by buying everything a shop has, selling it back to them, and going to the next store until it's maxed out. The final thing to do is finish grinding my unarmed stat by pissing off a shopkeeper and leading him around a block so he can never hit me. They have an absurd amount of health, so this doesn't take very long. I also use the steel weapon spell on a shopkeep to get the second secret spell, Drain Soul. Drain Soul will take away 20 HP and 20 MP from the target and give some of that back to you. Unfortunately, by this point in the game, it's not very useful, since almost everything in the late game has magic resistance. By the end of Hamlet, I maxed out my unarmed stat, and at some point maxed out my stealth stat, so whenever I sneak, I'm completely invisible. Finally, we're in the home stretch. The last 2 zones of the game, the Crystal Caverns and the Citadel. Normally, this place is somewhat challenging, since, as I said, almost every monster from this point on has magic resistance, and there are buffed versions of insectoids, goatmen, and incubi. However, due to the nature of this playthrough, they've all been completely trivialized. Kobolds die in 1 or 2 punches, golems die in 3, and cockatrices hardly do any damage to me. What also kinda sucks is there's nothing much more I can do for this playthrough in terms of leveling. All that's left is to just clear each map as best as I can for maximum XP gains. The last notable floor was the secret level on floor 33, Bram's Castle. Not only is there several enemies to slaughter, but the last artifact is also located here. I kill Bram and take the Wraith's gown, and now I can get rid of the levitation ring in favor of the strength ring I got in Hamlet. Now the only thing that's left is to take down the final bosses.
Big mistake, cretin. Time to suffer.
With that, I believe I have successfully broken Barony. I ended the game with maxed out swimming, trading, magic, casting, blocking, stealth, and unarmed skills. I learned nearly every spell in the game, including the 2 secret spells, and finished the final floor at level 89. Looking back, there's definitely some more things that could be done to min-max this even more, but I'm still happy with it as it is. For one, playing in co-op would make more monsters spawn, and if player 2 played as an accursed, then I could get the vampiric aura spell, giving a little more strength as well as lifesteal. I also probably could have maxed out leadership, but I don't think it was quite necessary. Thanks again for watching my Barony slop. More videos will be coming, but I think it may be a while before I make another Barony video. Do subscribe, it makes me oh so happy. And always remember to... I don't even know.